What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage and welcome to another live Thursday with the #1 live tuning YouTube stream at Thursday, 8 Eastern, that is shot in my office. Enough qualifiers in there makes it true, right? What is going on? We'll let some people have some time to start. There we go. The numbers start shooting up right away. I see WS6. Good to see you. Ted K, Jason, Alex, Andrew, as usual, my brother from down under. What do you think? What does everybody think? You have not missed a single thing over here at the garage in the last week. Since I talked to you last Thursday, I've not done anything. It's felt good, though. What up, Fast Hippo, Mr. Schmidt? So, I am going to rely on you guys to have stuff to talk about, because I ain't got nothing to talk about. But I have a sneaking suspicion at least one viewer tonight will have a question. What up, 900? What up, Rick? Well, you know, I actually had to run the snowblower this week. So, hey, N2LS. What is going on, my man? Keone, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome back. Yeah, that was about it. Running the snowblower. ABT, always be tuning, except whenever you're not tuning in this case. Hey, DZ. Tell Hillary hi. Wouldn't know what that's like with 40 degrees Celsius. Yeah, I wouldn't, because I don't know what 40 degrees Celsius is. Hey, Gutless. 104 degrees Fahrenheit. That sounds miserable. It's time to go out to the pool. Yeah, cold in Hawaii. We hit 60. Is it at least raining a lot in Hawaii like it always does, Keone? That's the true question. I spent a couple weeks in Hawaii a long time ago, and it just rained for a couple minutes, then it would stop, and then about an hour later, it would rain for a couple minutes, then stop, and then about an hour later, it would rain. You see what's going on here. Hey, Scuba Sam. It was kind of the same thing. 40 degrees Celsius average day, don't take jumper off till over 30. 4 seasons, 1 day style. It's always race season in Florida. This is true. How do you adjust VVT on Gen 5? 17 Silverado has VVT limiter with a BTR cam. You need to go in with whatever your limiter is. If you've got a 4 degree or an 8 degree or however many degrees your limiter is, go into your exhaust cam table and just make sure that you're not advancing beyond that. Honestly, it doesn't really matter because you can't, but it'll keep you from getting a code. Never seen snow. You're not missing anything. What up, Super Slow? Didn't get any snow. My kids are mad glad. Oh, kids are mad, but you're glad you didn't have to shovel the house or the shop. What up, Tommy? On Gen 5 vehicle, a lot of Gen 5 questions already. Since there is no longer a field for the ETC area scaler, if I was to upgrade to a bigger throttle body, is there any tables that I need to update? There is. Let me open the Gen 5 tune file so I can see exactly. No, maybe there's not on it. Maybe I'm thinking of the manifold for the Gen 5s. Because I know there's a manifold volume. Random question, why would you install a VVT limiter hardware if you could limit in the software tune? Well, the thing about it is you want to put a limiter in for cams that have enough lift and duration that you could get the valves into the head, or the pistons. That's the main reason why you run a limiter. So cams, very aggressive cams, need a limiter in there to make sure that you don't bend some valves. Kind of idiot-proofs it to make it where you don't fire the thing up right after you install the cam and bend something. Let's see here. What am I looking at? What am I looking at? Calibration details. 2017 ZL1, electronic throttle. Throttle area limits. There's throttle area limits that you want to look at for doing a throttle body swap. Rick, I've not seen Richard's new video on the best cam. I'll have to check it out. Any particular ways or tips to wire nitrous controller into LS1 coil? Elaborate, TK. What are you trying to do? Were you trying to wire into the coil just to get the RPM signal? Email question on the cold temps affecting the SD tuning. Yeah, temps should not really affect the SD tuning. They're going to some, but there is temperature compensation in there that's supposed to kind of correct for any of the stuff. Ever heard of a Torquehead 24X for the LT1 engine? Nope. What is it? What is it? Let's get my window up here. Torquehead 24X, pulled it up real quick. Oh, okay. 24X LS PCM conversion kits. Basically takes a 24X and changes it over to a 58 or whatever the other one is. You can go 24 to 58. Can't go the other way around. Lingenfelter's had one of those out for a while. No, Scuba Sam, there is nothing that is idiot approved. Ah, lost your computer, cat got it wet. That's why I don't have cats. Looking at this Torquehead kit. What up, Jerry? Very interesting, very interesting. For the price, it's not bad. Kind of comes with everything that you need to upgrade to a modern ECU on the LS1s, or LT1s. Guy Gen 3 question. I'm going to do the OS swap so I can run E85. I've copied everything over from my file to the new one. That is different. Only thing that didn't change was two things under electronic throttle body I don't have. Make sure that the OS that you're copying over to supports electronic throttle bodies. Do the Lingenfelter 58X 24X have issues? I don't think that they do, Ted. I think that they maybe cause it a little bit longer to crank because it has to see a little longer of a sweep to get the full signal. This is actually a crank adapter. This TorqueWorks puts something on your crankshaft to give you the 24X output. That's interesting. But that makes sense because it's going over to like a P01 or something. Sweet. Jason, your best bet is to try and find... Are you going to a stock size for a different motor that you could find like an LT4 or something like that? HP says change what at your own risk, super slow. Oh, the two things under the electronic throttle body. Yep. No, you can change those as long as you know what you're changing. As long as you have good values to put in there, super slow. You know, it's whenever the TAC computer gets out of whack that causes problems. Fast Hippo ZL1 5th Gen ZL1 tuner turned on map only. LTFT's turned off. Shall I find another tuner? Yes, you should, because of your next line. On Tippin, it feels like I'm pulling a trailer. That's because the VE has not been tuned. Les Blocker, how do I get in contact for direct help? Go over to goatropegarage.com. You can reach us. Easiest way is through the Patreon if you're just wanting help with tuning. If you go to the contact form on the website and submit a question there, unless I've asked you to, it will be ignored because I get about 30 a day. That's what the Patreon's for. It's how you support me. And you get your questions answered. Building a 383 stroker for my 96 Firebird, and I think we're going to go ahead and upgrade to the Torquehead 24X. Dude, for the price, man, just go with a Terminator X. Honestly, you're getting in for cheaper than what this would cost. And it's easier to tune. You mentioned a video you did on a remote turbo you did in the past. I'm having a difficult time finding your library. Point me in the right direction. Rick Johnson, look underneath the Super Auto playlist. It'll be early on in the Super Auto playlist whenever I did the remote turbo. And actually it was a remote turbo that was compounded into a supercharger. Gen 5 platform, do you need to change the manifold volume field if you change the intake manifold? Yes, you do. That is part of the airflow calculation, is that manifold volume, specifically for transient stuff. You know, because what they're expecting is a certain volume of air, and whenever you dump the throttle open, all that air gets rushed in real quick, and that helps with transient. Trying to help a buddy get his 04 GTO to come back to idle. Is controlled by a P59 ECM, and the throttle body is cable driven. Every time it comes to a stop, it wants to die. Tyler, check your IAC counts. Your idle air controller is probably maxing out at idle. What you want to do is get that thing up to temperature at idle and adjust your idle screw until those idle counts are between 50 and 70. That should give you plenty of room for it to catch the idle and control properly. That's the first step. Make sure that that's done, then you can move on from that. Wesley, I'd love to give your help and advice. I've been thinking about putting some EcoBoost calibration walkthrough videos out there for the EcoBoost communities, Cobb and HP tuners, since there's really no info out there. The only thing I can tell you is just refine your process, Wesley. Refine the process, the steps that you go through. That way you can clearly present them. I've gotten better than over the years that I've been doing this. Initially, my stuff was probably a little bit too much all over the place. So work on your presentation of your process. I sent you a message on the forum. Oh, super slow. Hold on a second. Cool deal. Just wanted to run that by you. I'm cable throttle body, and so is the new OS. Okay. Shouldn't really matter on the cable throttle body then. Hellcat. Yeah. Shoot me an email. Last couple weeks have been a little bit crazy, so I've not had time to jump over and participate on the forums with everything that's been going on and me traveling and stuff like that. So go ahead and shoot me an email, and just make sure that you put transmission in the subject code. You can hit up the info at goatropgarage.com. Doing tuning on 0411 swap 5.7 Tahoe. Any advice? 411 is the big one on that, I believe. Is that the one that has the primary and secondary VE table? Somebody answer for me on this. And if it has a secondary table, whenever the math has failed, you've got to be aware that it is pulling the values from the secondary table, so you have to tune both at the same time. Well, super slow. I am sorry to hear that, and I hope, he says that power steering fluid is just as flammable as transmission fluid, which is true. I hope that it wasn't as bad as mine. Yep, okay, we can start. DMC Bigfoot is now here. As I said, the only thing that is not flammable as fluid-wise underneath the hood of your car is your windshield washer fluid. And it actually has methanol in it, which is the fun part. Mm-mm-mm. 11ZR1 Lazy Tune was done for ID 1050s and E85. Has multiple issues. Got a wideband, plan on putting it on in the stock spot. Yep. Stock 02 shows lean. Should I increase fuel a lot before installing the wideband? You know, if your stock is showing consistently lean across the, you know, on the narrow bands, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and throw that much fueling in. It's not going to hurt anything. Then throw your wideband in and start from there too, because you're just going to be a little bit closer to where you need to be. You know, the narrow bands are, you know, you're looking at the picture this wide, but if you're outside of that picture, it's at least getting it into that range. Then you put the wideband in and you really tighten everything out, you know, get it dialed in. Can't stop running rich my power band. Just my PE down from 1.250 to 1.1. Car ran great until someone told me I was doing it wrong. So you want to set your PE and you want to set it and leave it. 1.1 is probably a little bit lean. In most cases, you're probably fine as long as you're not boosted, but 1.15 is probably a better target for PE. Then, Kanye, you need to go through and do the math and VE tables, because what happens is that PE table is just a multiplier off your base fueling tables. So we set the PE table and then leave it alone unless we need to adjust enrichment under power enrichment later on down the road. But you're never going to hit your targets as long as your MAP and VEs are not dialed in properly. So focus on that. Oh, there you go. You're on a 10 CTSV with a ported blower, so you want to probably run closer to 1.2 on that. Let's see here. We're doing 1 divided by 1.2. That gets us at 8.3 or 0.83. That's pretty good to shoot for, but definitely too lean at 1.1. HPT MVP2, 2 universal credits is enough to tune a 411 PCM. Nope, you're good. So basically, whenever you license a PCM, it licenses off the VIN and serial number for the ECU, and that is unlocked forever unless you have to swap out the ECU. There you go. InTune says unplugging some narrowbands can cause issues in some ECUs if you're swapping wideband in the spot for tuning. Just keep an eye out for it. If you see some weird stuff happening, might be because of swapping out. Yeah. Most, well, the blue washer fluid, which you can get in most states except for, I believe, California, Arizona, and maybe Texas, because they assume that those states don't really get cold enough to warrant it. The stuff that's negative 20 degrees washer fluid is usually around 20 to 25% methanol. Blue food coloring in water. But there's enough water in it that will not burn. Well, the winter blends, I believe, is really the only one that has it. I don't know. I just run the blue stuff. Run the cheap blue stuff. How would you go about finding the manifold vacuum volume from MSD intake? Search. Somebody's ran into this. There's many MSD intakes that have been installed. Somebody, oh, well, you've already said looked on main forums but couldn't find an answer. You could do an actual volume test. Basically, seal the ports off, fill it full of water, see how much water goes into it. Give yourself an idea of what the volume is. It's in cubic inches. Should be able to convert, you know, water is just, something like that is just because it's fluid. But if you put it into a graduated cylinder or something like that, you can convert it over to cubic inches. Oh, actually, this is very interesting. You can actually use gallons for your manifold volume. I did not know that. So literally, if you fill this thing up, you can put how much water goes directly into it. So it will convert from cubic inches to gallons. That's interesting. Learned something new today. Sweet. Okay. Don't run meth from Oklahoma. Best way to fix hanging idle on Gen 5. Idle torque tables. Not even the idle torque tables. It's just going to be your standard torque tables, Jason. Won't be Spark, though. Because Spark's all controlled by the torque tables. Looking at my buddy's GTO file and his base running airflow setting in park neutral is zeroed out. No, Tyler, I've been seeing that a lot on those GTOs. Specifically, is it a manual? Because that may be why. You can fill those in, but I don't think that those really matter. At least not on those. Is it legal to clone a PCM just in case your original gets bricked or damaged? And use the HPT or clone replacement? Yeah, it's totally legal. Thanks, brother. Yeah, okay. Is there a way to increase crank fuel when only on E85? It should automatically do that, True Knight, because of the stoich table doing the multiplier. So if you're still a little bit lean on crank, go ahead and bump up your cranking VE. Stick car. That's probably why, Tyler. If I go turbo under 10 pounds of my LS1, should I delete or keep the MAF? LS1, you might exceed the MAF on 10 pounds of boost. So you're probably looking at an SD-only tune there, Ted. Hey, Brian. Of course, Jason. That's what we're here for. Yep, you too, Derm. Yes. As Tucker says, Derm, it will cost the extra credits to write the second PCM because the VIN's the same, but the serial number is going to be different now. How do you find erratic, non-consistent throttle behavior? My throttle closes randomly in the ECM PCM drop signal and can lose data when this happens, but no freeze frames are DTCs. What are you on, Thomas? The gorgeous red Corvette is actually very dirty and in storage right now because I drove through 3 states worth of rain whenever I got home, and then it was getting ready to snow, so I just threw it in storage while the snow dropped because I definitely didn't want to get that crap on there. Little road grime is not bad, but cinders and possibly sand and salt, no thank you. ICT Car Guy, does PCM Hammer copy over the VIN and the serial to the new ECU? Hey, Chevy for life. Anytime I get in a high boost, it drops to 0.73, 0.76. I've already pulled 6 to 7 fuel multiple times. Kanye, double check that you're got everything set up for the table that you're tuning as far as the MAF or the VE stuff. Make sure that the VE or the MAF is not fighting you while you're trying to make VE adjustments and stuff like that. Oh, man. Thomas, you're on a 4th gen and you're seeing erratic, non-consistent throttle behavior. Throttle closes randomly. The ECM and PCM drop signal and lose CAN data when this happens. You gotta have a wiring issue. Hey, Holly. What could cause the TPS to go crazy in HP tuner scanner? Like just jump all around. Noise. For some reason, you could be getting noise from the spark plug wires or something like that. What up, Corey? What's going on? Yeah, a lot of these things sound like wiring issues. It's odd that you're not getting some kind of DTC on Thomas's setup. What up, Zeno? Yeah. Yeah, it could be a grounds. Yeah, I believe that Gil Banks was an imposter. Sorry. Hey, Moto Brewmaster. It has been a while. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, for the most part, you can't have too many grounds. With torque restriction caused the throttle body not open past 50%. I was thinking of P01689 code, but not sure. Somewhere around that code number. I gotta go back and read. What are you talking about, Richard? Is there a max number of PIDs you can log in the scanner? Schmidthead, there technically is because you only have so much bandwidth. That's why it's important to log broadcast PIDs. Those are always going to be on the CAN bus network. And then you can slow down some of the ones that you don't need as fast data on if you right click on it and choose the polling intervals. But Gen 4 and Gen 5, not really an issue because those get up to the very high speed stuff. But the Gen 3s can get saturated with too many PIDs pretty quick. What up, DIY? Oh, no, just a bottle of tea. No. Yeah, you would not be seeing me just pulling straight out of Jack's. Ordered my FTI torque converter. Sweet, Craig. Going to put an LS1 NT56 out of a 1999 Camaro Z28 into a C1500 using the stock ECU. Should I convert to drive-by-wire when I do the swap? Totally up to you, man. I mean, it'd probably be easier since the pedal assembly and there's already a cable set up to just leave it cable, but... The middle Patreon level gets tips. I'll look at your tune logs, stuff like that, help you out, try and figure out what's going on. Don't really do revisions. The idea is to help to illuminate the issue so you can get it fixed. But I will do my best to help you out. Yeah, ground loops aren't really going to happen on a car. They can, but ground loops are a big issue in the automotive world. Where you really got to be aware of ground loops is anywhere that you have shielded cables. So TPS could be a ground loop issue if both ends of the shields are landed. That will cause a ground loop and it will skew your analog readings. But for the most part, a lot of these sensors on a car are not going to be subject to ground loop issues. Mine is Gen 4 logging 41 PIDs. It's probably getting pretty close to the limit at 41 for a Gen 3. Throttle body will not open the blade past 50%. Gives you a P01689. Says torque restriction on a 6-liter swap from 06K to 04 Silverado. 0168 is probably what you're getting, right? I don't know that there's a 9 on there. Or even P0068, which is an airflow correlation. What you're having happen, Richard Coleman, is you're exceeding the airflow correlation tables. And so it thinks the throttle body is stuck open and it puts you in limp node. Go into the engine diagnostics tab, find the exact PCM underneath airflow correlation it, and max out the enable RPM or that table that's underneath there. That will fix that for you. Sitting low, is there any good literature or articles that dive into the theory as to the hows and whys of engine tuning, especially if people are just getting started with tuning? Listen, I will preface this by saying that I'm an affiliate of HP Academy, but I will tell you that if you are just getting started with tuning, go over there and look into their intro to EFI fundamentals stuff. Check that course out. If you decide it's something worth buying, make sure and use my discount code, save 75 bucks. It's in the description of all of my videos, and it will walk you through literally what you are doing as far as how the spark is affected, how the fuel is affected, how airflow is affected. It is like going to school to learn EFI. And honestly, even though it is a pay-for class, it is the most bang for your buck. Kobe C, I must have missed your first question. Where you go? Oh, drivability, tunability, probably not on that platform, man. It's whatever you want to do. NTE, I do remote tunes. I am all booked up right now. Next engine build, we should send the heads to Tulsa and let Eric Weingartner work his magic. New to tuning, cam 4th gen, wants to die, coming to a stop, catches itself, surge, idle back up, idle air around 10 grams per second, add more idle air. Should I be looking at the coast spark table? Probably idle air first. Make sure your idle air is sorted out, idle air, and then you can look at possibly your throttle follower and make sure that it is ramping the throttle up soon enough. Probably don't need to mess with spark in most cases. Will an O2 spacer help kill a permanent 420, 430 code? I honestly do not know. But for as cheap as an O2 spacer is, get one tried out and report back. What is the normal parasitic draw for an E38 ECU? It's a good question. Look at your fuse box and see. It's got to be under 15 or 20 amps. But there's not a lot of draw going on those things because everything that they control is based on a ground control, ground trigger. So all the power is on the other side. Should not be that much for an E38. Jason Millar, talk to a friend, Nitrous Express, do you have a discount code? I do not have a discount code. If you're a patron, though, reach out to me through the Patreon email, and I am a dealer, and I can get you a discount that way. Only happens after boost under load. Yep, as I said, airflow correlation tables. Airflow correlation is one of the most untouched tables. I'm not thinking airflow correlation. I'm thinking base idle airflow. Well, the fuel pressure control module does draw current because it's controlling the fuel pump itself. The fuel pump runs through that one, so it's going to draw as much as the fuel pump would draw, especially since it's running PWM. No, there's current draw, Chevy for life, but you have to realize your injectors and your coils and stuff like that are powered. And so you are triggering them with a low side trigger. So you're not getting current draw through the ECM that way. Because if you had an ECM that could do that, it would have to be a lot more robust to trigger that stuff that way. Which the storage you set up for the pump gas we get today is 14.7-ish, even close anymore. LT did around 14.1 in his tune videos. Pumps in my area say up to 15% ethanol. Thanks. I mean, Jim, you can compensate for 10%. It's not going to hurt anything. Everything will run on 14.7 up to 10%, 15%. Probably going to be getting lean. Closed loop will make up for most of that. Not an issue. Yeah. Spark plug defilers will work to trick the P4230 cat codes as well as drill a hole out to 3/4. Super slow bringing in some old school stuff. Old school stuff. Listen, it is a 27. And I don't know if you guys have been watching Archive 81, but I've got an episode to get back to. So we're going to wrap this thing up at 8:30 on the dot so I can go watch the rest of this episode. It always goes too fast. They sell defilers already drilled on eBay. Huh. That's interesting. Always learn something new. Not sure if I need a 2RV torque converter or an expensive one. It's a big, heavy 3/4 ton van with the TH400 with B2R torque truck cam stock PCM. You need to call a torque converter manufacturer with that setup, Derm. You're not going to probably be able to find something off the shelf, or they'll be able to suggest something off the shelf that will work for you, but don't make an assumption on that because you're putting it into a van. Okay, listen, it is 8:29, ABT. You guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Always be tuning. I'll see you guys next week. Patrons, keep your eyes posted for a video this weekend.